Hey there, folks. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, also known as the Hatman.
Welcome back to the Overflow. This is the point in time where we answer all of the questions that we were not able to get to from the podcast most recent, or at least podcast and a half this last week, because anytime the seasons change from winter to spring or fall to winter, I spend at least 2 or 3 days out with a migraine, and it was a very, very bad one. I felt good for about a combined amount of 3 hours over the course of 2 days. Like, that sucked. Couple that with the fact that it is confirmed I do have a herniated disc in my spine, too.
Oh.
Like, 2 vertebrae below, like, above my tailbone. And it is causing pain in my back and my legs, and I've lost a ton of flexibility in my right leg. So the good news is my doctor says I'm okay to start exercising again. I just can't do anything I can't do leg day, basically, with the worry that it's going to herniate it more. But I can still do other stuff. So that's good news, at least. I'm going to try to get back on keto 100% and start taking some supplements again, so get back to losing weight.
There you go.
Because she has basically just said, it's, because you're big and you put on weight again, so not a lot, just like 6-7 pounds, but she's like, it was very sudden, so it's going to throw you out of whack. I'm like, shit. So for those of you out there who are chubby like I am and you want tips on the keto diet, because keep in mind, I've lost 35 pounds so far, and you want some recipes or stuff like that, feel free to let me know. Or you can become a patron for the channel for $1 to get into the Discord chat. And I have now started a section where I'm sharing recipes with people for such an occasion. So, a little bit of a shameless plug there. Alright. So, Hatman, as always, I will let you choose. What are we doing? Politics or entertainment?
You know what?
To start,
let's start with politics, since we didn't actually get to that this past weekend.
Fair enough. And I was actually kind of pissed that I was not well enough to do it. Like, because usually what I would do, my laptop is set up to stream. It actually has the outline and everything. Because as some of you remember, when I was in Arkansas last year, we did the podcast, and when I was in Texas, we did too. So.
And you've been able to do it laying down, while sickness, had you on your ass before.
Exactly. So I could barely talk, or think straight. It was that bad.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into it. So, and some of these are kind of all over the place, but yeah, I really wanted to talk about Ilhan Omar and her blatant anti-Semitism. And kind of define anti-Semitism for people and kind of talk about the difference between that and criticism of Israel, because there are differences, and 0 things she said were criticisms of Israel. 0 things. When you say the Jews, not Israel, the Jews have hypnotized the world, you're basically saying that they have Jew magic. Where's the button? Where's the button? Jew! So yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
So Autis Whisperer asks, thoughts on Donald Trump's global crusade for LGBT rights? Can you say Deus queer? Well, I didn't get censored, so yes, I can. But no, in all seriousness, I'm not a libertarian. If I was a libertarian, it would be a small L, not a big L, because I am more of I align more with conservatism when it comes to global politics. And some people have even said when it comes to foreign policy, I'm actually a little more hawkish than some people. So, I am in complete support of it. Not because I agree with, people bumming each other or stuff like that. I'm a religious Christian. Obviously, there's areas when it comes to same-sex relationships, I do not agree. At the same time, I don't think you should die for what you do in the bedroom. I don't think that you should, that's ridiculous, or be imprisoned for it, or suffer any sort of penalty for it, because it's not the government's business.
No, it's not.
You know, my general, like, thing between man and God is that things should stay between man and God, and other men should leave that alone. There's a really good scripture in the Beatitudes that I'm paraphrasing, is that, you know, it's basically, it's hypocritical to point out someone else's flaws because you have your own. You know, beware to point out the speck in your brother's eye. You have a log in your own. You know, there are a lot of things that people have going wrong with them that, you know, the government just has no business in intervening in. And this is one of them. So that's the main reason why I'm completely behind what he's doing. Because I don't think you need to agree with the way someone lives their life to say, yeah, you shouldn't die for that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. You should not kill somebody for that. I mean, you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. But you don't kill them for it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like we've always said. People have a right to do what they want, provided that they are not causing direct harm to others.
Exactly.
Very simple.
All right. Hardboiled Entertainment asks, with Ilhan Omar picking a fight with Obama and AOC picking fights with Pelosi, will the Democrats be in any condition to unify in time to take on Trump in 2020? No. The old guard is basically being hounded for not being left-wing enough, and they brought it on themselves. The simple fact, you know, and this goes with what I was talking about when with Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitism and people going to bat for her. You know, the fact is that Pelosi and others knew that this wave was coming in. Tom Perez, all of them, knew this was coming in. They knew that they were going to have, you know, this new breed of Democrats. And with that new breed of Democrats comes a lot of issues. Anti-Semitism is a big problem within this new breed of Democrats.
Yeah. Well, it's also a problem in the Labour Party, you know, the left-wing party of Great Britain, too.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge problem. They support, like, Jeremy Corbyn supports terrorist regimes and is very open about it. And, guys, let's not kid ourselves. Palestine, as of right now, is a terroristic regime.
Yes.
Literally run by terrorists.
Yes.
So, but they support it because, and we've talked about this before, a book that I would recommend reading, even though I don't, you know, agree with a single fucking word of it, is Orientalism by Edward Said, who's a professor who was of Palestinian descent. And a lot of what he spouts is nonsense. But you need to see the nonsense that people are pulling from. And that book is a big inspiration on the radical left. Yeah. I always thought one of the biggest mistakes that Christopher Hitchens ever made was writing a book with him. So.
I think it's funny, though, how Democrats are starting to turn on Pelosi.
Oh, yeah.
And it's sort of led by Ocasio-Cortez and her little clique. And especially now since Pelosi's like, yeah, impeaching Trump is not worth it.
Which she's right.
Yet she is, actually. I never thought I'd agree with her on something, but everyone's losing their collective shit. But then again, considering they've been led to believe that impeachment was necessary because the presidency was stolen and all that nonsense.
And the thing with Pelosi is this. Pelosi will push dumb policies to try to get reelected. She's not a stupid person.
No.
You don't stay in politics that long without having some sort of smarts or some sort of a survival instinct. And she is smart because she understands if they draw up articles of impeachment, the House flips Republican.
Because and even then, he's not going to get impeached. He can't.
Well, there's no way. There's no way the Senate would ever.
Yeah,
go
exactly.
Through it.
No, they wouldn't.
So, but either way, this is where I saw it going, and you know, the Young Turks, who I think are sort of the I think it's pretty well confirmed that they are the voice of young Democrats, socialists basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
because I mean, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a Young Turks candidate. Remember, Justice Democrats, like Hatman and I talked about, was going to be the social justice Democrats. It's exactly what, it'd be a bunch of socialists. Anybody who got elected would be one. We were right. So, that is the voice. And like Jenks said at the end of the 2016 thing, is that they were coming for the Democrats. He was not wrong. And who has stand more for Ilhan Omar, aside from Cortez, than Cenk? Nobody. I mean, he tried to deflect criticism of her anti-Semitism on evangelical Christians, the most pro-Israel group in America that isn't Jewish. Ridiculous. All right.
Understand.
I'm ready to move on. How about you?
Let's roll.
Okay. Next question from Gojira is, do we agree with Andrew Klavan about how conservatives have not learned the lesson from Trump's election and are not adapting conservatism for the future? I think that there is a debate within conservatism right now between the Lockean conservatives, those who pull from John Locke, and those who think that conservatism and government still has a role in maintaining a social order. And I'm forgetting the philosopher that they pull from, but I am more in lockstep with Locke. Basically, I'm closer to the libertarian side of things, and as much as these, well, they call themselves traditionalist, but these further right wing, those who think that conservatism should maintain social order, they're no different than the neocons and the boomers. It's the same ideas. You want to use government to maintain social order. And I don't think that's what's conservative. Like, what is that? You're trying to conserve through force. And that starts you on the slippery slope to fascism. Notice how with Bush, who believed in those ideas, mind you, whether you realize it or not, became a more authoritarian president. The government got bigger underneath him. And if you don't like Bush, and then Thomas Paine, but is the philosopher. But if you want to go the Thomas Paine route and you want to use government to enforce a social order, that's where you're headed, is towards Bush, and you say you hate him. You got to pick one. Is Bush evil and bad and blah, 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 and all of his policies were bad? Or is the idea of using government to maintain a social order a good thing? You have to choose one, because if you think that that is the case, there's no reason to be opposed to what George Bush was doing, because that's exactly why he did it the way he did it. So I personally think that the younger generation is much more leaning towards libertarianism in a lot of senses. Legalization of marijuana, looser drug laws that make sense.
More of a disconnection with the religious elements of the right wing.
And here's the thing. Younger generation of conservatives, quite a few are religious, but they don't see the point of intermixing God and government.
Exactly.
Which is smart. And I don't see the point in intermixing God and government either. So I'm in full agreement. So I think Klavan's spot on the nose. But the good thing about the Daily Wire, in my opinion, in regards to that and some other political outlets, I think the Blaze TV is doing this pretty well too, is that they are more plugged into the younger generation of conservatives and what they're looking for, as opposed to people call me a boomer conservative for reasons I really don't understand. I would think that this whole Thomas Paine idea of using government to maintain social order, like, that's the real boomer shit.
Yeah,
I'm pro liberty. That is what I always emphasize. So, but yeah, Klavan's right.
Yeah, I would say so. I have no idea what's going to happen after Trump finally leaves office. if the Republicans are going to want to push someone who can capture that momentum that Trump did, or move to like a true dyed-in-the-wool conservative instead of just a populist.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would think that more than likely what will happen is they will move toward, again, another big personality who is going to follow similar paths politically. I would think Ted Cruz is probably a good front runner. Reason I say that is he has that big personality. He was a Tea Party guy, so obviously he's, not as far to the right as some other people. He's still pretty popular with younger conservatives. I think the fact that he did not distance himself from Trump even after they had that big feud in the primaries, and that there's a mutual respect between the two now, that I think was a good, has been a good thing for him politically. So that would be who I would think would probably be the guy that they will turn towards. Because he's also, among the people in the Senate, a lot of people have cooled off on him. So,
admittedly, wishful thinking though.
Admittedly, but as of right now, that's who I would place money on.
That's a fair bet.
Though I would say if he's going to do that, have Rand Paul as your VP.
That's a good choice too.
Wallumancer the Wawfather wants to know thoughts on Biden finally being expected to announce his bid for the presidency. Do you think he'd be the nominee like most expect if he runs? Yes.
Yeah.
The Democrat incumbents want him more than Bernie Sanders. Right now, Bernie is the front runner because of the grassroots, basically.
Right.
And all the other people are floundering underneath Bernie. Everybody else is the instant Bernie came in, nobody gave a shit about anybody else. It was nobody's talking about Kamala Harris. Nobody was talking about Kristen Gillibrand from the get-go. Now nobody definitely is. Nobody's talking about Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren just came out in favor of capitalism, so I have a feeling that now she's going to have even less support than she did beforehand, because she was aiming for the Bernie base. And basically all of these people were aiming for that same base. Cory Booker too. And once Bernie stepped in, Bernie created the Bernie base. Everybody's going to go for him, even though likely he will die 2 years into the presidency if he got elected. And
seems like it. And
make no mistake, he can win. David French put out an article in the National Review today that I completely agree with. He can win. There's enough stupid people that vote based on emotion for Bernie Sanders to win the presidency. And that is a frightening point, because his policies would likely either, he would likely be a lame duck and would have a bunch of crazy executive orders that would go nowhere, or full Democrat takeover, full push towards socialism, war. Because the first thing they're going to try to do is disarm the public. And in the United States, I actually pointed this out to somebody in our patrons Discord. It's like, you try to disarm Americans, they're going to start shooting. And there was actually a Maryland Sheriff's Department where a city ordained disarmament to a degree, and they're saying they're not going to enforce the law. You're going to get that. You're going to get people fighting back. It would be chaos. We are the last bastion of freedom in the world. And if you try to take it away from a country that loves freedom, it will be war.
Naturally, yeah.
So, all right. Eclectic wants to know, I heard the reason most corporations and businesses turn to automation is because the cost of minimum wage being so high. What do you think that, why do you think this is true? I think is what he meant to say. So, whether or not you realize it, your labor has a dollar amount attached to it. So I want you to think about this. To do the job that I do in insurance, which is, I'm not going to tell you what my job title is, but I'm going to tell you that I work a lot with liability decisions, which are not easy decisions to make, and investigation and, fraud prevention. So things along those lines. Low level, but still, it took me, you have to have a good knowledge of insurance. You have to have a good knowledge of policy. You have to have a good knowledge of how vehicles work. You have to have a good knowledge of how body shops work. You have to have a good knowledge of, or you have to have good critical thinking, and things along, like, you have to be pretty clever, to do well in this sort of a field. And my training was 3 months long. And if you think about how much training a job, or how complex a job is that requires 3 months of training, I get paid pretty well for what I do. And I work a lot of overtime because I really like the hourly amount that I make. But I am trained considerably more, probably double the amount that somebody who works for half my wages, which would be the minimum wage. So that kind of gives you an idea of like how much I make per hour, is double the Illinois minimum wage. But I'm also twice as trained as that person. Every piece of labor has a dollar amount. Can a monkey do your job? A monkey couldn't do my job. If a monkey can do your job, or a complete dipshit could do your job, or if a robot could do your job ain't worth much. Some labor that is required does not have much attached to it. Now, companies are willing to pay people to do these jobs if the labor rate is low, because the jobs don't take much. And if they're willing to do the work and they're willing to take the pay to do it, then they'll go for it. And then, of course, if you do an exemplary job, they'll likely raise that pay as time goes on, because you have proven that you have a set amount of value, that the worth of your labor has gone up. So when the government comes in and says you can't pay somebody that much to work, all of a sudden that job and its value are inflated artificially to a point where the government is saying it is worth something it is not. It is like the government coming in and telling me that the webcam you're seeing through is worth $200 instead of $100. So now companies can't sell this product for less than $200, even though it's not worth that much. It artificially inflates it. So what a company will do is they will do one of two things. They will increase the price of the product, or they will turn to automation. It used to just be they would increase the price of the product, and then the customer eats the cost. Historically speaking, that has been true every time. That is why that you don't see a big shift in unemployment rates, is because companies just raise the cost, and people will just eat the cost. And we're not at a point yet where it's destroying places, but eventually it does destroy jobs. We're starting to see cashiers at fast food restaurants be phased out because we don't need them anymore. And I'm going to be honest with you. I would much rather talk to a human about my order than I would a robot. Even though the robot's easier, I would rather talk to a person, because if something goes wrong, I can negotiate with the person. Robot's just going to say, you have thing. Take it. Thank you. Goodbye. You can't negotiate, So, different things like that. I prefer the human touch. And a lot of people do. We're social people. We're social animals. We prefer to talk with other people, given the opportunity. So that's why I'm opposed to automation. I think that it's going to make business a soulless endeavor. But that's why they turn to automation, is you're telling me that I can't pay a human being $9 an hour to scrub toilets. And if you inflate the minimum wage to 15, I'll just be honest. I make more than 15 an hour. So the people below me in different departments who do less than I do suddenly cannot be paid that amount, $14 an hour or less. Or $14.99 or less an hour. Cannot be paid that amount if you inflate it. So they're going to look for ways to automate what they do, and then you're going to have people lose jobs. Because it's cheaper. Because the thing in business is you want to try to keep your costs low. And this is the big problem with current socialists, or socialism in general. You assume that businesses are fucking money factories. You don't know how economics work. Keynesian economics are retarded. So Marxism is retarded. They don't fucking work. They try to deny the reality of how humans behave. Fact of the matter is if you're good at something, you never want to do it for free. There has to be an exchange of something. You know, if I'm going to use a sex reference. Anytime that I have ever been in a relationship and I clean the house, I'm expecting something in return. Wink, wink. As does every guy. And fellas, don't lie to me. But that's the thing. You know, you do. Let's be honest. We do nice things for our significant others because we want that love and affection. Not just sex, but just love and affection in general, right? That's an exchange. That's how humans behave. Hell, it's how we interact with animals. You want your dog to sit? Give them a treat. And they'll do it every time. It's so fucking stupid. So, but that's why automation happens.
Yeah.
And we're doing it to ourselves.
There's also the element that it's cheaper to replace machine parts than, you know, humans. You don't have the HR element. You don't have to worry about anyone getting sued for, you know, being Me Too'd in the workplace or shit like that when it's a machine.
Yeah.
So it's other somewhat practical reasons as well, instead of just the pure monetary benefits that come from it.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next one. Incel Mafia also wants to know, do we think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to go to jail? So what he's probably referencing is the possible embezzling that she may have been involved in, that her campaign manager seems to very much have been involved in and is under investigation for. It probably not. I agree with Hatman there. The only way it would happen is if he flips on her. So we'll see what the DOJ does.
Have to flip on her too.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what the DOJ does. So. Yeah, exactly. So if the DOJ squeezes him and he flips on her, then yeah, she's probably going to go to jail. If he does not, which is what I don't think will happen, or they don't press him to do so, which I don't think they'll do, then no, she's not. All right. Koopa's Revenge Home wants to know, what are our thoughts on Tim the Barbarian beheading Twitter on Joe Rogan's podcast? That was cathartic.
Holy shit.
Tim Pool really confronted them with a lot of their own lies. And I loved how brazen he was about it.
It's like he catches them weaseling their way around. It's like, nope, fuck you. I'm going to drag you back out of that shit. And into this. Like, fuck you guys.
Now, do I think Twitter's going to change a damn thing? No.
No. Hell no. Hell no. The only changes that they've got in the pipeline now are, I shit you not,
to make it worse.
Taking away likes and retweet numbers.
Yep.
Because they got to protect those journalists that get ratioed.
They are literally making their platform even worse after that.
Yep.
Because everything that Tim Pool told them, they ignored. But you know what? They are a business. If they do that, their stock will continue to plummet. So. All right, Brian Gilmartin wants to know, any thoughts on the fact that leftists who used to criticize corporations for being authoritarian now defending the same corporation's censorship of opposing views? Well, again, at the time, they weren't the right kind of people on the right side of history. But now they are. So they're perfectly fine with it.
They'll embrace corporatism if it benefits them.
Exactly.
That's how the left is.
The only if the left had no double standards, they'd have no standards at all. And then final question from Sketch Steven: Jesse Ventura or Kane as president of the United States? Give me Kane.
Yeah, Kane. Yeah, Jesse Ventura can keep his conspiracy theories.
Indeed. Though, granted, Jesse Ventura's been in better movies. I mean, he was in Predator. Like, that, he wins. Alright. Let's move on to entertainment.
To entertainment.
And the question that I was hoping somebody would ask. Thoughts on the Finding Neverland documentary? Honestly, I think they're lying and trying to get money. Well, there's already been an accusation thrown out there for somebody that was involved in the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it? I just saw it on somewhere today. Let me check real quick. It was somebody's ex-boyfriend. Hatman, help me out here.
I have no idea.
Where is it? Ah, here it is. Jackson's niece, her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, is claiming that he was molested. And his name... let's see. Wade Robson. And, yeah, she's already stating that he's lying for money. Which could be possible because Robson defended Jackson in court.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's coming out and saying that he lied the whole time. So you're guilty of perjury then. So either way, you're a liar.
Yep.
And now we're in the liar's paradox. So how can you trust a word he says? Either way. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
My big thing with these sort of accusations is corroborating evidence. If there is no corroborating evidence, if there is no one who can say that this indeed happened, and there's got to be some sort of evidence, there's got to be something that ties their stories down. I mean, keep in mind, guys, this got thrown out of the courts twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if it was true. I don't know if it was false, but the court says it's false. The court says there's not enough evidence.
Yep.
And if the court says it, I mean...
one case was dismissed. The other one, he was exonerated.
He was exonerated, that's right. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's like, what the fuck? So, I genuinely think that it is probably for monetary reasons. I am not of the opinion that Jackson was guilty. I do largely trust the court unless you have something that's going to show or cast doubt on that. And a story alone is not enough. See Blasey Ford, Christine.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Blasey Ford, Christine, but you know what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we ought to know by now. We've covered false accusations repeatedly. So why a documentary all of a sudden is given more credence than literal decades of evidence to the contrary?
Yeah.
Is fucking beyond me. Like, Michael Jackson is dead. He lived a strange life, but that was because he had a terrible, terrible childhood.
Yes.
But he's gone now. Let him rest in peace, for God's sake.
Yeah, this is... I don't know. I think it's silly.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, Alistair Folgore wants to know, do we know of any funny comedians? Well, my favorites would probably be George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Dennis Leary.
Damn, go for the classics.
Chris Farley's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Though I always thought that his movies were the best part of Chris Farley.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not seen Tommy Boy, dude, best movie about a salesman ever. It's hilarious.
Chicken wings.
Oh, may he rest in peace, man. And by extension, of course, David Spade.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think stand-up. Robin Williams.
Yes, Robin Williams stand-up was wonderful.
If you have never seen Robin Williams live on Broadway, Oh boy, best
Oh, man.
stand-up routine ever.
Oh man, he's really good.
Who's some other Eddie
Dave
Murphy,
Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Oh, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
Chris
is another
Rock's
really
routines
good
are
one.
really good.
Yeah. Who else? Dave Attell.
God, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I know his old stuff was really good. Mitch Hedberg.
Oh yes,
Mitch Hedberg
Very
was really
yes.
good.
Oh shit, there's somebody else in that circle.
Trying to think of some other good ones. Joe Rogan. If you've never seen, if you're familiar with Joe's podcast, you've never seen his stand up. His stand up is really good. My favorite being his joke about Brock Lesnar. Oh, God. I'm not worried about Brock Lesnar fucking me. I'm more so worried that he would use me as a condom to fuck something bigger. Oh.
Let's see.
Who's another really good one?
Rodney Dangerfield was also really good.
Yeah, Rodney was pretty good.
Oh, Bill Hicks. That's who I'm trying to think of.
See, here's the thing. I never really got into Bill Hicks.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Him and Doug Stanhope, I never saw the appeal.
See, I'm with you on Stanhope, but Bill Hicks, I kind of felt like with Carlin, you know, he's up there with Carlin. But I'm like, God, I can't remember his fucking name. Yes, Bill Hicks. I'm surprised you didn't like Hicks if you like Carlin so much.
I know. I just never could get into him. Never could. He didn't seem as clever.
I got you.
And then who's a couple other good ones? Who is the guy? Pablo something or other does the movie trailer voice guy impression. I gotta find him.
All I know is the movie trailer voice guy. I know his name. I don't know who you're talking about.
Pablo Francisco. He's hilarious. If you've never seen a Pablo Francisco, like look up his old Comedy Central specials. They're really good. And I feel like I'm forgetting one more.
Patrice O'Neill.
I'm not that familiar with Patrice's stand-up.
It's solid. Or was solid. May he rest in peace, too.
Oh, Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric was always one, like, his fucking one on the fight between, it was Kostya Tszyu and somebody else. Oh, God, what was his name? Zab Judah. When he talks about the Zab Judah Kostya Tszyu fight. Don't ever play with matches. Oh, it's hilarious. So yeah, Cedric of the Kings of Comedy, Cedric was my favorite. And actually, wait, now we have to go with their white guy counterparts, the Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
Oh,
I was never a big Jeff Foxworthy guy, but Ron White is great.
Ron White is really good. See, I have a kind of opposite problem. It's Larry the Cable Guy I was never really into.
I couldn't get into him that much either. Oh, Bill Engvall too, by extension.
Yeah. Well, see, I like Bill Engvall. Bill Engvall is like middle of the field for me.
Yeah.
Foxworthy I like.
Yeah.
Larry the Cable Guy not so much, and then Ron White's great. Ron White's solo stuff is really, really good.
Oh yeah. The Engvall is definitely, if you have a family that puts the funk in dysfunctional, you will find Bill Engvall's comedy both hilarious and on the fucking nose.
Yeah.
That's why I like
close
it.
To home.
Because my family, we're all crazy. You think I'm over the top? Holy shit. You haven't met my mom. My mom can really get into it. So, all right. So yeah, those would be our recommendations for sure. Incel Mafioso, wants to know, why does the media insist on blackwashing white superheroes when there are plenty of non-white superheroes who just need good promotion and writers who work for Guardians of the Galaxy? I agree completely. I think that there's plenty of, roles out there for quintessential characters that have gone unfulfilled that could be a hit with people. Like Black Panther was. Because you've got, on the DC side, I think it's where's Jon Stewart? Where's John Henry Irons? Come the fuck on, man. People love Steel. People love,
Well, they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that one because they already played Death of Superman out.
Well, yeah, there's other ways you could do it. But, I would be all over Idris Elba playing John Henry Irons. And we had Will Smith as Deadshot. But,
obligatory Monica Rambeau.
Yes.
For God's sake.
Oh, an answer to your Twitter question earlier, by the way. Remember what we talked about in the review? Men aren't allowed to look good in the Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah, no. I find it hilarious. Okay, for those who don't know, my buddy and I went to go see Captain Marvel yesterday.
Why?
I went to see it the second time. I promised him I would see it with him.
Oh God.
He paid for it. So
okay. Well, that's okay then.
I didn't pay popcorn. But this was his first time seeing it. He left probably more pissed off than me.
Really?
Because he was like, "Where the fuck was Frank?" Like, what are you talking about? Frank Rambeau, Monica's dad. Yep. Why was Maria a single mother the whole time? Like, well, obviously it's a female centric movie. It's absolutely strong women.
Same reason that they turned Carol's dad into a shithead.
And he was like, but he was such like a rock of support for her. He was a positive influence on her. Why did they not take the opportunity to put a positive depiction of a for the diversities? And I'm like, yeah, you've got a good ass fucking point.
Oh yeah, it's because women.
Yeah. Disappoint.
Yeah.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
I did a video that I recorded last night, put up today being Wednesday, of kind of a post-mortem of that movie. And that was one of, some people could tell how frustrated I was, and I was holding it back, of the fact that they would not allow a single man to be a positive role model in that film.
I'm tempted to put up my own post-mortem because honestly, after seeing it a second time, I'm just annoyed by that movie's existence.
Yeah,
I'm legitimately annoyed that movie exists.
Yeah, I'm that's the real thing that gets me. It's like you have all these films where this was not a problem for women to look up to men, or for both genders to be portrayed as strong in different ways, and then suddenly that's not allowed anymore. Why the fuck not? So, but then again, I am of the opinion that this is the worst MCU film since Thor: The Dark World. It might even be worse than Thor: The Dark World. So, and I've been talking to some people who went and saw it who aren't politically minded at all, that didn't like it. Thought it was stale. Thought it was just kind of eh. And that's generally what's so insulting about it, is it just fucking exists. So, but yeah, but that's the thing. But the whole thing with blackwashing, they're approaching it the wrong way. Yeah. Because they don't really understand how powerful you can be if you use a lesser known character and just promote them correctly. Again, Panther is a good reason.
Yeah.
And even though we didn't like Captain Marvel, it did bank at the box office.
Yeah.
It just takes the right promotion tools. Do I think a new Steel movie with proper casting could be a really good film? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you do another Green Lantern movie, and you have it star Jon Stewart.
Think about Blade, even.
Yeah.
Before all of this shit, there was Blade. Basically,
made 2 kick-ass films.
Unknown. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got 3 fucking Blade movies total. I mean, obviously,
third one wasn't very good ones. But yeah,
only 2 good ones, but you still got 3 movies out of that. fucking there's no excuse.
Yeah, Blade is
Absolutely
one of the most
no excuse.
obscure characters you can get. When I tell people who are longtime comic book fans that he was created by Marv Wolfman, they are shocked.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. For those who don't know, Marv Wolfman, same guy who created Deathstroke.
Yeah, I mean, there are still some people today that don't even realize that Blade was a comic book character.
Yeah. So,
no excuses. No excuses.
Yeah, there are none. There really are none. Fuck. Give me a War Machine solo movie.
I'll take it.
I'll be all over that.
I will take it. Absolutely.
Give us the Mandarin. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Why not?
It's just silly. It's just absolutely fucking silly. All right. Eclectic wants to know, are either of us kaiju film fans? And if so, what are our expectations for Godzilla King of the Monsters?
Casual.
Yeah,
I would
casual.
call myself as casual.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enough of a fan to know who Gamera is.
Yeah. I mean, like, I can name various kaijus, but for example, I can't tell you, which era is which for the Godzilla films.
Yeah, the movies weren't that entertaining, all things considered. They haven't aged well.
Yeah.
You go back and watch King Kong versus Godzilla, it definitely has not aged well.
No. Well, that was like, the third one that they ever did?
No, it was later. But
damn.
Them destroying a Japanese estate for no fucking reason. Anyway, but expectation for Godzilla King of the Monsters, I expect it to be Godzilla killing monsters.
Yeah. Not an expectation, but a hope. I kind of hope that that Mothra's twins show up. if only like just in a vague reference. I'm kind of hoping for that. But aside, I kind of hope that the only ones that die are Ghidorah and Rodan. I don't want to see Mothra die, though I have a very bad feeling Mothra will be slain.
Oh, he's gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
Mothra's going down.
Don't want to see her go, but also expecting a tease for Mechagodzilla.
Oh fuck yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, because that's obviously what we're going to get after Godzilla vs. Kong.
Definitely. And I will be in there with like a fucking Godzilla shirt and like one of the beer helmets and like with a Godzilla #1 thing, because I will say I do love me, like, if I'm gonna root for a bunch of monsters, I'm rooting for the big fucking lizard that breathes fire and is made of nuclear everything.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I'm expecting a Mechagodzilla tease, because that I fucking love Mechagodzilla, and if they don't at least tease the idea of it, they're doing it wrong.
Let's just hope they don't swerve and go Space Godzilla. Yeah.
Didn't care for Space Godzilla.
Nobody did. All right, let's continue. What are our thoughts on the SJW Games Press attacking DMC5 for reasons I'm not even sure about, because Dante is white or something? I didn't even know that there was one. I don't read Polygon, so I can't really say. But the only... I don't really know what... Oh, but probably because the game's not easy enough. That was what I would think would be a criticism.
From what I've noticed, a lot of the people that are criticizing it are the same people that were proselytizing for fucking DMC way back in the day. The reboot. Black-haired Dante.
Oh, because it's not political. Yeah.
Yeah, so, fuck you, let people have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, there was... The only thing that what I've seen more criticism for, at least with the fans, has been the censored nudity in the PlayStation version.
Yeah.
Which there's not much... Here's the thing about it. There's two butts. You see Trish's, which she was never known for having much in the hips anyway. And then in all versions, they censor ladies. And Lady's the one known for her hips. And with Lady, it's done as a gag. And I didn't care, personally. I didn't think that it either... Like, the Lady thing I laughed my ass off at. Pun totally intended. Because that was funny. Because she's, you know, in a blanket, trying to rest after being captured by a fucking demon. And turned into a monster. And then the girl that you're palling around with, who's your gunsmith, hands her a shovel to help her dig a trench, and she just completely drops her blanket and goes, well, do you have any clothes? Like, are you fucking serious right now? Funny scene. But, didn't really bother me. You know, I think that Sony just kind of does such things because they're worried, but I don't understand the need for the worry. Meanwhile, in Grand Theft Auto 5, you can see Trevor's ball sack. Mm-hmm. My whole thing about it is like, to be honest, female nudity is much more pleasant to look at than male nudity. Mm-hmm. Why even? Even women agree with that.
Yeah. But I mean, it's fair, I guess, if you want to toss dicks into games. I mean, I remember we had that conversation for, what was it, Lost and Damned? Was that the because it was a GTA 4 DLC that straight up had a dude's dick and balls in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Whatever. Fair enough. I don't got to look at it.
Exactly. But I've always been of the opinion that I think that there's a solution on developer end where you could just have an option to turn it off or blur it.
Yeah. I think just like we said before, those options existed for gore back in the day. Why the fuck don't they exist now?
Yeah, that I've never understood.
Yeah, especially.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Crystal Wing wants me to tell some stories about my D&D orc, since his friends are prepping to do their own D&D game. So the last one I told was, I was in a party, and I embedded my axe in the face of a bartender because he refused to continue to serve me drinks, even though we were mid-negotiation for information with him and actually succeeding. I didn't give a fuck. I wanted more ale. Another one of the misadventures of Blarg, and I want to play this character more, and I haven't had the opportunity, it was a two-person game and a DM, and we were teaching somebody how to play. So I said, fuck it, I'm throwing them in the deep end, I'm going to be Blarg. Because Blarg is hilarious. And there was a forest with a bunch of kobolds in them. And of course, kobolds are easy to kill. So every swing of my fucking axe, something is dying. But at the same time, I was getting hit a lot too. Again, barbarian, doesn't wear a lot of armor. His armor class is not that high. By the end of the fight, I'm bleeding out. I have passed out. The other person is a fucking halfling and has to drag my ass to safety. So imagine in your head this little blonde halfling trying to drag a 6'4" muscled fucking half orc out of a forest as he's bleeding to death. It was one of the most tense situations I've ever been in a D&D game. Because I thought my character was going to die. But no, we made it out. But
yeah, there's the deep end for you.
Yeah.
You got what you wanted.
Exactly. What's another good one? Another one is in the early days when I created Blarg. I had him impale a fucking orc on a stick. Oh, no, not an orc, a goblin on a stick. On a spear, rather. On a goblin spear. For shits and giggles. Then, when the half-elf in our party, who was the ranger, spotted more in the distance in front of a cave As a joke, I rolled to throw the goblin spear at the other goblin to try to kill it. Natural 20. I impaled the fucker in the head with another I used a motherfucker to kill a motherfucker. And then I said, I want to roar for intimidation. My DM is losing his goddamn mind at this point because he can't believe my luck. I roll another 20. So when we go in there, the goblins are all huddled in a fucking corner, screaming their heads off because there's this giant orc who used one of their friends to kill one of them, looming over them.
Oh my god. As if beating a motherfucker with another motherfucker wasn't enough.
There's other stuff like that. Like,
oh my god.
There was another time where, half of my adventures are in taverns. We're in a tavern at the beginning of a quest, and the waitress refuses to serve me because she's a racist and I'm a half-orc. I roll to German suplex her. Successful grapple! Not a nat 20, but I got a successful grapple on her, and I threw her through a fucking table with a German suplex.
Oh my fucking
effectively god. Killing her.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, those are the misadventures of Blarg. He kills everything.
Holy shit.
I've had the character for over a decade, and it's just... I basically use him to test a DM and the limits of what I can do, which I don't usually play that way. Like, I don't bring Blarg out in all of my games. I usually play as a cleric. Like a Dragonborn cleric. Which we did D&D streams like ages ago. Artemis Worm was the DM, and the whole thing with him is he got lit on fire all the fucking time. But that's always the thing with me is, like, if I'm playing a normal character, all the bad shit happens to me. If I'm playing Blarg, all the good shit happens. It's really weird. So... But yes, those are the adventures of Blarg. Alright, Crystal Wing wants... Will End wants to know, what is our favorite film or TV version of Alice in Wonderland / Through the Looking Glass?
I'm just going to go with the Disney animated feature.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do the same.
Because that's the easiest one. Not talking like the early Alice films, the actual...
Actually, no, I changed my mind. My pick is Batman. Batman the Animated Series. The very first Mad Hatter episode.
Let's move on before you cheat me further.
Hey, I found a way to introduce Batman. What's wrong with that?
Here I am thinking that you're going to whip out American McGee's Alice. And instead, nope, Batman.
Alright, Matchstick wants to know, if they make a new MK movie, who'd we catch? No! We don't want another MK movie. We don't want an MK series. No, we want Vidya. Again, the story modes in the Mortal Kombat games are better than I have a feeling Hollywood could ever make a fucking show or movie.
All I'm going to say is that Michael J. White was a perfect Jax, as far as I'm concerned. I know not MK1, but I don't care. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Hardboiled Entertainment wants to know, thoughts on Sin City? Not sure if he means the movie or the comics, probably movie. We'll do both. The comics are good. The film's good. Carla Gugino has huge boobs. I don't know what else there is to say.
Everybody shame the Hat Man.
Oh, yes. Everyone shame the Hat Man!
Shame! 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 Shame!
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
You have neither seen the film or read the comics, I'm
I
guessing.
have seen neither film or read the comics.
First movie's good. Second movie is kind of just okay. But then again, the first film picked all the compelling stories. So, but no, if you haven't seen it, dude, you need to. Like, it's really good. It was a really, really good comic book film before we were having really, really good comic book films.
Well, I mean, I've already got one thing that I've got to watch in review. So, maybe afterwards.
Maybe so. All right, folks, that is everything, I think. Did we get all the ones from the Discord?
I believe so. If we didn't, throw things at us.
Let me have a look real quick, because I have it up. Just checking it, because I know that I had done a... where's it at? No, I don't think we did.
Were there Discord questions we didn't get to?
I don't think so. I think we got everything. So yeah, we're good. Okie doke. So, we will return this weekend with the podcast. I don't know where I will be broadcasting from. I have not decided yet. If I will be at home or if I'm going to take a couple days to go somewhere else and stay in a hotel and just kind of rest, basically. Haven't decided yet. We'll see what happens. So, but either way, we shall return. Until that time, my name is Micah Curtis.
I'm Mugs.
Your internet sucks.
Yes, it does.
Yes. We'll see you guys next week. Davis Volt.